5G towers trying to melt our brains. That's a conspiracy theory. Man never went to the moon. In fact, there is no moon. Once again, the theory. Cars don't actually exist. They are a government program created to keep people scared. Also a conspiracy theory. Let's talk about some theories. The answer is one man. David Icke. I need to get this out of the way. I say Icke throughout this entire video. It is apparently Icke. David Icke. Now, David Icke is just your everyday British guy. He used to be a sports commentator.
No, I haven't been this disappointed as in Shrek 2.
He played football.
You hit him in the penis.
Or as the Americans call it, IRL foosball. But his main career...
It's your favorite doctor, lawyer, teacher, plumber, astronaut, gamer, Johnny Sins here.
Is that of a conspiracy theorist. Now, A, how do you monetize that? And B, you probably have heard of a couple of his theories. One of them, which I'm not going to be talking about today, I'm not touching this one, it's a 10-foot pole, was 5G towers and COVID misinformation. He was a huge spreader of misinformation around the virus, so already not exactly the most trustworthy of sources, but let's take a deep dive into his other very well-known theory, that being of lizard people. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not punching down on David Icke here. This is good-natured fun. If he's allowed free speech, then so am I. And I'm not gonna like slander him. I'm not gonna say anything bad about him. I'm just gonna talk about the theory itself. Now, his actual description on Wikipedia, and yes, I'm using Wikipedia as a source.
Ew, you nasty ass bastard!
Is that he is a conspiracy theorist. Now, here's his website. This doesn't exactly scream credibility, but let's take a look at this tiny little ad right here. I'm not gonna say that this says that PTSD isn't real, because that's not what the book says. If you actually just read the summary and do a little bit of, research, type a little, just a teensy bit, it's talking about other stuff, but that is a wild title to read when you're trying to put more credibility onto someone's name that seems to say that PTSD isn't real, advertised on their website. That just seems odd. Anyway, his latest videos on his website are The Migrant Crisis is an Elite Manipulation, Why the Cult Sold Twitter to Elon Musk, and They're Switching Us to Synthetic Bodies. That's a little odd, I'd say. But yeah, he popularized the lizard people conspiracy. Now, how did lizard people come about? What does it even say? Who knows for sure? Well, let's get to the bottom of this. So here is the theory. Davey Boy believes that a large portion of the world's leaders are either possessed by lizard people or are lizard people themselves, just disguised as humans. Now, how did it start? Well, mainly science fiction. Or at least that's where the idea of lizard-human hybrids came from. But that's not where Icke's theory comes from. Well, we actually don't know where his theory comes from, we just know that he believes it. And let's do a deep dive into this theory. What are the lizards? Why, of course, they're an interdimensional race of reptilian-human hybrids, and they date back to the Babylonian creation myth. Yes, this is a biblical story, and it gets even more biblical. They are a genetically modified human Archon hybrid. Archons are the reptilian interdimensional beast. I know that this is from an anime. Please just bear with me. What do you expect me to show? I'm trying to show a fictional thing that nobody exists. And they're shape-shifting reptiles known as the Babylonian Brotherhood or the Illuminati. Yeah, that Illuminati. We're getting two theories for the price of one on this one. They manipulate global events in order to keep us scared and to use us like cattle and to feed. Feed off of our skin and bones, our meat and potatoes? No, they feed off of our negative energy like the dancing clown. He believes that they came from the Draco constellation and that they live in caves underground, and that they bred with humans some 200 to 300,000 years ago and possibly created Adam and Eve. Like I said, it got more biblical. Oh, and they come from the lower level astral plane, also known as the fourth dimension. And they are controlled by fifth dimensional creatures. Do we care? Not really. We don't know who they are, and honestly, this is just so wacky and goofy that I don't care. Now, I'd like to point out that him saying that they're from another dimension That just gives him a Disney fast pass away from needing to provide evidence of their arrival, because we don't know what a trans-dimensional device would even look like or include. So there's nothing that we know to look for. But I do know what we know what to look for. Yes. That being the lizard people themselves. And do you know how many we found? Because it's quite astonishing. We haven't found any. Yeah, we haven't found any. Now, if I say that, that means that the government is lying to us. Because I don't know, because I'm not a lizard person, but the government is. So every time that they find a lizard person,
I'm coming for that.
Do you have any idea how fast I am?
they dispose of it very quickly so that we cannot figure that out. Now, obviously, if you know much of anything, you can just see how ridiculous that part of it is.
Oh, poop.
There would be someone who would have found something at least once, and it definitely would have been labeled as an alien. And the fact that there's not much evidence except for what we've been given. I know we've been given that one video. But we haven't been given a corpse. If we found a human lizard hybrid corpse, oh my god, that would be everywhere. Every single person on Earth would know it. We'd learn about that shit in kindergarten. But no, we haven't found any. The government is lying to us again, apparently. I'd also like to note that by this point in his Wikipedia page, the author feels the need to point out that the theory is often associated with anti-Semitic statements and sentiment. But David has had to come out and clarify that he actually believes that the Holocaust exists. Now, I'm not saying that he is an anti-Semite. In fact, I think there's evidence to support that he is not an anti-Semite. Editor Bruv here, I'd like to point out that there's this entire section of his Wikipedia page that is dedicated to examples of possible anti-Semitic behavior. This is the size of one of his entire theories, and the anti-Semitic part is larger than it. So, just a little side note, but I'm not gonna say whether or not he's an anti-Semite because I don't know. I've never met the man. But it's odd that the theory itself is so often associated with anti-Semitism, mainly because people believe that the lizard people in this case are representative of the Jews throughout history. But I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not, just no. So what does this actually mean? Why should you believe this? Well, considering there's no evidence, you shouldn't. Okay, well, thanks for watching. No. But if you believe David, it's bad. It's really bad. It's not looking good for us. The goal of the lizard people is to microchip the entire population, and they want to form a world government to keep us in line and turn us into slaves. Yeah, that's not looking too good. I don't like that. He says that unless we can get rid of the lizard people, we will be trapped in the 5 sense reality, whatever the hell that. As far as I know, we're not missing a sense. We can upgrade our senses. We can only see a specific spectrum of light right now. If we upgraded our eyes somehow, we'd be able to see more. We can smell better. We can upgrade senses, certainly, but I don't see a way how we could get more of that. We can cure senses. We can have people who had 4 senses get 5 suddenly.
Cody is blind and autistic.
He credits the lizard people with a lot of things. Now you might be thinking, what exactly has he credited with them? Well, just about everything from modern war to ancient human sacrifice. Specifically, children. Well, isn't that odd? Oh, and they founded the United Nations to get started on that world government thing. And they control science, religion, and the internet. I can't see lizard people really pushing a lizard people video on the YouTube algorithm. One last little jab, but he also credits lizard people with 9/11 for some reason. That's not something I wanted to read or say today, but we don't always get what we want, now do we?
Welcome.
I did say I wanted to make a video about weird shit. And lizard people behind 9/11, that's definitely the weirdest thing I've ever said, for sure. So what happens if he's right and we do nothing? Well, we get put into a matrix situation where we get farmed as a species and used as livestock. What happens if he's wrong and we do nothing? Nothing. Nothing happens. Moving on. I want to talk about another theory, one that's close to my little caveman brain heart, because it deals with ancient Egypt, and that's something I've always loved since I was a kid. I've loved ancient Egypt for years now. More specifically, the pyramids. Now, the pyramids have so many different conspiracy theories around them. And I'm not talking about David Icke again, just because that's whack. I don't want to go into all the conspiracy theories that he's talked about, and he's talked about a shit ton of them. No, today I'm talking about this TikTok. Think long and hard, okay? I want you to think about what the pyramids were made and used for, okay? Think. Use that noggin, okay? If you come up with communication with other planets, emitting electrons.
It was not until Christopher Dunn made a scaled-down model of the Great Pyramids and started pouring water into it. As a result, the pyramid resonated at a frequency capable of emitting electrons.
Communication with our planet, or anything to do with the speed of light, according to TikTok, you'd be correct. If you came up with, I don't know, the burial of royal deceased, like all the credible archaeologists have, you're insane, you're crazy. Gaslighting, that's a huge word. Did your friends teach you that? Brain hurty after that one. They've got good mysterious music on that to show that it's a mystery. And yeah, we can't say with 100% accuracy what the pyramids did, but we have a damn good idea of what they didn't do. And I'm pretty sure that communicating with other planets isn't one of them. Okay, one last thing. Here's another TikTok of Lady Gaga talking, and she mentions the word shapeshifting, so people think that she's a lizard person. God damn it. We're back to David Icke. I thought I got away from it. Roll the damn clip.
I have always liked shapeshift.
I actually found the rest of the clip, and it just turned into Steve Colbert taking hold of the conversation right after she says that. I wish I could say she went on to talk about shape-shifting for roles, but he doesn't really give her the chance to. He directs another question at her and somewhat changes the narrative. Now, the Red-Pilled Society would like to think that this is just another example of the shitty talk show host not allowing their guests to speak. But in reality, it's because Gaga slipped up. You see, she's a lizard person, and Steve is too, and he just saved her ass from a mistake. Yeah, no, it's just a talk show host thing. They're all terrible. So what's the point? Why should you care? Hopefully you feel better about yourself and how smart you are. Because if you agree with me on most of this, that this is nonsense, you should definitely feel better. But I didn't just decide that all these theories were wrong and nonsensical. When I first read the lizard theory, I actually searched for evidence, and when I found none, that's when I decided that I didn't believe it. Same for the others. You should be twisting your theories to suit facts rather than twisting facts to suit your theories, which is something all these people seem to have forgotten. Now, go away. Watch my other videos. If you enjoyed this at all or was interested by any of these theories, I implore you to do your own research because there's a lot specifically about the reptile theory that I just wasn't able to talk about. There's this whole thing about whether or not they actually eat blood or feed off of energy. Icke isn't exactly consistent about that, but there's a lot that is involved with it, so do your own research if you found it entertaining.